So we're a little out of time. Anybody who wants to leave, it's not rude if you got to get up and go, or if you just got to go. And there's a microphone in the middle. There's got to be at least one question. Please bring your questions. Let me ask one while people are here. How many people here ever lived or worked in Port Gamble? Show of hands. Right on. So the microphone's in the middle. If you have any questions, please come. And if you don't have questions, that's okay too. You know where to find us.
Bruce McCain, I live in Suquamish. I have a question about utilities that will be used to serve this community. I read in the paper that you're going to be getting rid of your sewage treatment facility. So that means that this fairly diverse community is going to be basically on septic. And I'm not sure what your water source is. Is that a well? Or anyway, that's my question: is how you're going to what kind of utilities are you going to use to serve this community?
So the question is, how are we doing water and sewer? Right now we have our own wells, which have an adequate water right and adequate volume of water to do that plan. But Kitsap County PUD #1 also has plans to connect Port Gamble sometime in the future to the North Kitsap Water District. The wastewater treatment plant that's there does not have the capacity for that plan, and because we're not an urban area, the state won't allow us to expand it. So we have a huge sand deposit on top of the hill, and we will have a professionally or agency managed large on-site septic system. Next question or comment?
Bring this back down to
somebody.
Short people level. Okay, how's that?
It's good.
Okay. Hi, good evening. I'm Nancy Langwith, and I'm the facilitator for the North Kitsap Tourism Consortium. And I'd like to share some prepared comments with you on behalf of the consortium. First of all, did you know that tourism is the 4th largest industry in the state of Washington? And that follows behind software, aerospace, and food and agriculture. Also, did you know that visitors to the state of Washington spent $16.4 billion and generated $1 billion in local and state revenues in 2011? That tax contribution is equivalent to $400 per household. And in addition, tourism supported more than 150,000 jobs in the state of Washington and $4.5 million in payroll. So obviously, the bottom line, tourism really is important to all of us. North Kitsap is rich in local culture. We have Native Americans, Norwegian, Japanese. We have the lumber mills, and of course, we have the marine culture as well. It's also an expansive natural playground for hikers, bikers, paddlers, and boaters, and we've just heard so much about that this evening. Further development and expansion of historic Port Gamble, including such things as a waterfront lodge, trails, and additional tourism-focused businesses, in addition to the current many, many miles of trails, has the potential to increase visitors' experience North Kitsap and bring in not only additional revenues, but also the badly needed customers for our local businesses and restaurants. This increase in visitors that Port Gamble can bring in will also increase visitors to our other venues. For instance, the Point and the Clearwater casinos, the Lighthouse, White Horse Golf Course, the city of Paulsbo, the little budding city of Kingston, and all the venues of Bainbridge Island. It will also increase the attendance and the participation in the many and varied events that are sponsored locally by our communities and our businesses. And in North Kitsap, what we've come to realize is that none of these venues is large enough by itself to engage visitors for more than a day. And what we really require are overnight stays, and that will increase our lodging taxes. If we can band together and support each other, as well as our surrounding areas, we can create experiences that are worthy of a weekend or more. So to this end, the consortium was formed to organize this North Kitsap experience and joint market our area to more effectively promote our diverse cultures, our many land and water trails, and the beautiful scenery. In addition, the consortium supports responsible use and care of our land and recognizes Olympic Property Group's commitment to mitigate the environmental impacts of their ongoing development. So briefly, who is the consortium? The North Kitsap Tourism Consortium. We are a grassroots ad hoc volunteer organization. We have a passion for the peninsula, and we have a unified mission to increase tourism in the area. And our mission to increase the awareness and visits by regional, national, and international tourists, and that will increase our tourism yield, basically all the dollars that can come back to the area from tourism. And our active partners are Port Madison Enterprises, the Suquamish Museum, Olympic Property Group, Port Gamble, the Kingston Chamber of Commerce, the Paulsbo Chamber of Commerce, the Bainbridge Chamber of Commerce, and community and business members from Kingston, Suquamish, Hansville, Bainbridge Island, and Paulsbo. And we also partner with the Port of Kingston on individual projects. So thank you very much for the opportunity to put our comments in.
Thank you, Nancy, and thanks for the support.
As usual, following my wife, I always hate to adjust things upward. My name is Jerry Kirshner. I'm a resident of Kingston and also a member of an ad hoc voluntary group that is looking at the economic development status in North Kitsap and Greater Kingston area. I'd like to speak to the master plan with respect to economic development for all of North Kitsap. To me, economic development does not mean bringing in large box retail stores or large manufacturing facilities, but it really is, in my mind, being responsible environmentally as well as for our communities in which we live. It is also important for economic development to develop sustainable wage jobs for our citizens. It's important to develop education for our citizens so that more meaningful jobs can be available. It's also important to support existing businesses, especially retail businesses. It's also important to establish an environment for entrepreneurial and small business formation. I believe that the master plan supports most of these needs. The obvious is jobs for construction. That will bring forward jobs and also the need for materials for construction. In addition to that, the space available will be available for small retail startup businesses. I think this is important because it really establishes support for the entrepreneurial spirit, which is really, I think, the key to North Kitsap. The hotels and restaurants obviously will support sustainable wages for our citizens. Most of our citizens, the workforce in our citizenry, only less than 20% of our citizens live and work in our area. The other greater than 80% work someplace else. The jobs that will be coming forward with the hotels and restaurants and small businesses will allow people to work and live here. Beyond just the job opportunities, there's the support for existing businesses, especially retail businesses. Retail businesses need people coming in their door. What the master plan will provide the opportunity for tourism, more people coming into their doors, spending money, but that will also help not just the Port Gamble, but all the retail businesses in North Kitsap. That will provide those job supports, but also provide the additional disposable income for all of us, so all of us can enjoy that. So I fully support the master plan, not just for Port Gamble, but for all of North Kitsap.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Yes, I've got a question. My name's Ron Eber. I live down by Big Valley Road on Highway 3. I'm concerned about traffic flow through Port Gamble. Both plans still have Highway 104 coming, making that 90-degree turn.
Yes.
And now, you know, as you said, most people are heading to the Olympic Peninsula. Some pull off in town, and I think if you pull this off, tons more people will want to come and make the stop, or maybe just come here in its own right, and that could be good. But there seems to be a need for some sort of bypass so that the people who want to get through and don't want to slow down to 25 miles an hour can do so. Some of us who live in the area sometimes come up this way to the post office, or we have to go around to Kingston, and the flow now is difficult at certain times. I'm sure with all these additional homes, it's going to get infinitely worse. So quick question, are you looking more, I think I saw a plan one time where you had some little bypass on your property, cutting that corner so that folks that don't want to go through town can get around it?
So the question is, what happens in the future as traffic builds and Port Gamble becomes more and more backed up at the 90-degree bend? Yeah. We do have a location that we will talk to WashDOT about for a bypass. That town has been laid out to accommodate that. We are probably decades from triggering the need for that, and I know we're decades from raising the money for it, but at the very least, we're not going to plant homes in the middle of the bypass, so that some route will be there for the state of Washington.
Good, because I think you'll lower a lot of anxiety level from people in the area if you can deal with that traffic flow problem. It's bad enough on Highway 3 or coming through town the way it is now, let alone with all that additional development.
Thanks a lot for your question. Next.